Welcome to the InStory Show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and our theme this season is Dare to be Seen. It's finally your turn. And today I am thrilled to welcome Junie Swadron. And Junie is an author, a psychotherapist, and a writing coach. And today we're going to dive in to how writing is one of those powerful ways to come out of hiding. And one of Junie's really her slogans is that our voice on the page becomes our voice in the world, which I love that so much. So like with everybody, before we dive into everything you do, I'd love to hear a little bit about your story. Like, what was it like for you? Who were you as a kid, and how did you discover this writing part of yourself?
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'd love to share that. Well, when I was a child, I have this innate spirit in me that's joyful. And I think we all come out that way. I think, I'm not sure, but I think so until we get shut down. So I would get shut down, or I did fairly quickly in my life at home. And I had to change the way in which I felt when I came outside from playing with my friends and come back inside and kind of push a lot of the stuff down because it wasn't really safe to express myself. And so it was a bit of a split thing, and I didn't really know which part of me that was safe, right? And I started feeling like I was too much outside too, because inside I was told that. So I really shut down. I was quiet. I didn't have a voice. I had very little self-confidence, if any at all. And in those years, diaries were the thing to do. And they were more like a hobby and a cute thing. And, my mother didn't say in those years, go to your room and write in your journal. I don't even think that, it just wasn't even part of the vernacular or something that, would heal you. But I started writing in my journal or my diary, this little five-year diary with like this many pages or whatever for 5 years. And I think I finished it in like 3 weeks or something. But I found that writing would bring out the parts of me that I had no idea were even there. There was something very almost bizarre that I never could understand and didn't have language for it at that time, that it was as though there was this benevolent presence that was with me as I wrote. It suddenly started to feel like a safe thing to do. I mean, it was private, it was my little diary, and I felt like I was being held. And so it was my secret place where I felt free to write. And when I did, for sure, a lot of stuff way back then was, about school or my latest crush and my heartbreaks and all of that. But deeper meanings would show up on the page. They would reveal themselves without my really knowing how that could even be possible. So the writing came to me at an early age. I was probably 11 or 12, and it helped me significantly find a voice that eventually was one that I could feel confident enough to use outside of my diary. I would hesitate, but then I would get brave enough because the writing, if I was writing really fast and I was really angry and something, and I would just spill it all out. Thank goodness we didn't have email then. Press send. That is not a good idea for anyone. ever write it and rip it up or whatever, but don't put it in email. So anyway, when I would do that sort of thing and I would write it, and then I just gave some space, I got it out of my body and I got it out of my mind, and it wouldn't ruminate whatever that happened to be so much. And a different truth would emerge. And I could see sometimes my part in that play, and by leaving some time for these sorts of things to settle, when I was able to express myself, it came in a much more grounded way where I could be heard and I could have a conversation as opposed to blaming someone. So Um, yeah, it was a phenomenal process that who knew that that would become my life's dharma, you know, because I love to be a writing coach. When I became a psychotherapist close to 30 years ago, I, you know, got my shingle to do that. That's when I started facilitating writing groups that very same year.
Wow. Right, because you had somehow seen your whole life how much it helped you.
That's right. So I started using it with my clients, my therapy clients, because you go beyond the left linear brain. You know, you bypass that when you let go of all the rules you learn in school, when you let go of spelling, punctuation, grammar, syntax, how it's supposed to look, how it's supposed to sound. No, you know, that part of you that's connected to source doesn't care. It's not about being socially acceptable. It's not about any of that. If you're writing a piece for whatever, you can go back, like a one that you want to publish or something, you can go back later and edit it. But during the creative process, every time you come to the page, it's about getting out of the way and let the writing do the writing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would love to hear a little bit more about how you came to really give writing more and more prominence in your life and what you do. Like, did you go through shutting it all down and opening it back up? Or how, you know, how did you bring it really forward?
You know, I had periods, long periods of time that I didn't write at all because I was deeply depressed. And even though I knew writing, I knew intellectually, and I even knew in my heart that writing was a tool that would take me out of the fear or anxiety or pain. Um, I would go through times where I just felt shut down completely, and writing was the last thing. And until I started, I found the courage to do it anyway.
How?
And
Like,
how?
the reason I always ask people to unpack these moments is because it's so hard to know if someone's stuck in one of those moments, is how do you turn it around? So what gave you the courage, do you think, to start writing out of that dark place when you weren't
Sometimes
writing?
it came from a deeper voice inside of me that
Mm-hmm.
just said, Junie, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was from something that I picked up and read. Sometimes it was somebody, a mentor in my life that said, hey, this, or a therapist, you know, it varied. But
Mm-hmm.
if it resonated with the deeper truth with me, and it always did, because it started off as a kid, you know, I knew that it worked, and even though I was terrified, it was just my journal. Nobody was going to see it but me. And so what I found was that my darkest writings became the best poetry or song lyrics, or later in life, you know, I don't know, 12 to 15 years ago, I wrote a play about mental health and mental illness, madness, masks, and miracles, about the madness or the dark night of the soul that we all go through. It's kind of hard not to when you're living on this planet, to not go through an existential time of pain. And so it was the madness and then the masks we wear in society to hide the madness, the pain, the heartbreak, the you know, and so we put on this veneer. Yeah, I'm fine. And then the miracles that allow us to take off those masks and be real. And so that play, which I co-wrote it, was to dispel myths and stigmas about mental illness, because at that time I was working as a mental health worker in Vancouver. And I also was diagnosed with bipolar illness when I was 20.
Wow.
And hence those, you know, clinical depressions. We didn't have a name for it when I was growing up, as well as unbridled energy, feeling really happy, and somewhere trying to find a balance. And so, anyway, I fast forward, when I wrote that play, it was also terrifying, because it was I was close to 50, and it was the first time I was coming out as, you know, people knew I was a psychotherapist, a writing coach. I had a good reputation. I was doing really well. And now I'm going to tell the public that I have bipolar.
Wow.
when there was such a huge, and still is, stigma. It's way better now than it was 20 years ago, or yeah. And, um, but still, and I thought, I'm going to lose my career. I mean, if you were coming to see me as a client, did you want to see, a therapist who has bipolar? Maybe not. Or maybe that you would. I don't know. But it was so risky that, but at a certain point, it felt like marching orders from the universe. And it was because I had gotten ill again, ended up in a hospital, got well, and decided I'm not going back to my job. I have to find another way to come out and be authentic and true, where my clients wouldn't know that I was, just in a holiday in Bermuda or something. No, the truth is I was depressed and I'm working on it. So anyway, I did it, and I did it terrified that I might lose everything. And it wasn't about me anymore, you see. And I think that's what happens. I think when we start to resonate with a deeper truth, it wasn't about me. It was about the message, which was that I wanted to get out to the public, and not in a in your face way, but with a play, where people could watch it and just feel what they feel quietly within themselves about what was going on. And so it was about the message that we're not our diagnosis, we're not our pathology, we're way more than that. And so, of course, the play was highly acclaimed, and people were coming up afterwards and, oh my goodness, thank you, and gave people a voice. And that's what we do, don't you think? When we are willing to be vulnerable, then people can, on this, from the humanity of who we are, we can all relate.
I love that so much, because so much of the theme of this whole series is about coming out of hiding, and what a brave story, because those are the kind of things where you feel like I can never tell. And obviously it didn't ruin your career, did it?
Hardly. My career blossomed and has been blooming ever since.
But that's such an important point to say, because a lot of the audience will be hovering in that feeling that if I come out of hiding, something will be ruined, right? Because that's the old feeling, right from the past, because truthfully, most of us survived our lives by hiding a part of ourselves.
100%. And if somebody, Devorah, if somebody would have said to me, years ago when I was working through all the, I mean, it's not easy. It was it was really many times were crises in my life to maneuver through, a series of hospitalizations, or what would trigger them, and keep coming back to who I am and to be beyond that. It was a ride. And I mean, how many times do you fall down and get up? You get up every time. That's what you do. You get up every time. And so, but if somebody would have said to me when I was struggling so much that one day mental illness will be a gift, I think, like, who's the crazy one here, right? But I am such a big advocate. My voice is out there as an advocate for mental health. And, and now I have this thing, Academy for Creative and Healing Arts, for people with mental health challenges, ACHA, I call it. It's all about a center to bring in creativity with mental health. Because I see how, for 15 years, I facilitated a support group for the book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and watched people who said they never had a creative bone in their body start to shine through whatever their art form was. It doesn't matter. There's a million ways to express ourselves, right? It doesn't have to be writing. It's whatever that is. But when we tap into that creative place, we are so tapped into our truth.
100%. I mean, that was part of where I started, was how do you bring your creativity out? Right? How do you do that? So I love that you did that. I love Julia Cameron's book too, The Artist's Way. She really made big inroads for many people. So say a little bit more about now some of what you are doing that is really helping people? I'd love to hear more about your organization, more about your work. Like, what are you doing that's moving people forward these days?
Okay, well, I wrote a book 10 years ago. I've written now 4 books and the play and whatever, but I wrote a book 10 years ago called Rewrite Your Life, a transformational guide to writing and healing the stories of our lives. And now I have that online for a while now. I've called it Rewrite to Reignite Your Life. And so the whole idea of that is to look at the stories, the painful stories in our lives, in a way that we can transform and transcend the pain, to see that every story, every event, every situation that comes to us comes with gifts attached, lessons and gifts. Now, the gifts may not always come in with a bow. It could come with a 2x4, but right? And we don't want any of those. We want grace and ease and joy, of course. But if we avoid that stuff, it's going to keep coming up sideways in our life. And so there's a process. So I've been working with that for many years and helping people to move through the pain of their past and so that they can live fully in today. Fully in today, not be concerned, it's not about, the horrors that happened to us in the past. Some people have such a hard time of letting go of their story, the painful story, and they want to say it over and over again. And that only reinforces it and keeps them stuck. I mean, who wants to be there? And surely that's not where they want to be, but it can be terrifying to not know. There's an old adage that, no matter how shitty, there's no place like home. So there's one thing about, okay, this really sucks, but I'm used to it, as opposed to stepping out of our comfort zone and being curious and trying something. And anyway, that's one of the things I've been doing. And then my latest book, so I've written some other books on writing, and I wrote a coloring book, which is a children's story and coloring book for the child and every adult, called Coloring Your Dreams Come True. But my latest book that just came out, it's not even in hardcover or softcover yet. It's still, it's about to be, but it hasn't come out yet. But it's on Amazon, and it got 3 acclaimed awards for first bestseller in 3 different categories. So I'm thrilled about that. But anyway, that book is Your Life Matters, and it's Learn to Write Your Memoir in 8 Easy Steps. So with that, I've been working with writers, obviously, for many years, 3 decades, and but in the last several years, working with people who have rewritten their stories. Many of those people are now coming out as either entrepreneurs or wanting to write their memoir, because as entrepreneurs, they've gone through. They've risen as the phoenix from whatever the ashes have been, and now they want to share what they've learned out in the world, right? And so Your Life Matters helps that, because people start to realize, whoa, you know what, all those things I did when I was terrified, I'm really stronger than I thought. I'm more resilient than I thought. And so when I help people to write, either as an entrepreneur to get their stuff out in the world, or somebody who just wants to write their memoir to learn more about themselves, I'll take away the just out of that, to learn more about themselves, or because they want to leave it as a legacy to their family. My whole way of helping people to write their books is to be empowered by their story, to recognize that every single story we've ever lived matters, that it's holy, it's sacred, it's celebrating our life, as opposed to saying, oh, that wasn't such a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And look at you with the InStories. It's all about that.
Yeah. And it is so significant to see the way that your story can make a difference for somebody else. That when we share our stories, and so much of what we're all doing here, it allows somebody else to get the confidence to share their story.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that's what we want to do. I mean, I don't know where I'd be without the people in my life who have helped me put one foot in front of the other.
100%.
Sometimes
Right.
that was just getting out of bed.
Yeah. And I
Right?
love just your bravery and your honesty about sharing your issues with mental health, because so often people have parts of themselves that I'm not going to share that because I will be judged.
I didn't share it out loud for 50 years.
Yeah. Right.
Right? I mean, of course, my close friends knew, my family knew, of course, but as a professional,
Hmm.
that terrified me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even as a woman, entering any new relationship that I might be in, or even friends, right? Not necessarily in a primary relationship. What if they know? Will they leave me?
Yeah. Well, and
That,
also I think what's powerful is what you're bringing forward about how healing creativity is. Right? Because isn't that part of what you're creating, is that organization that's helping bring creativity into that, into the mental health conversation?
yes, yes. I'm sorry, I missed the first part of what you said.
That I think the bringing of creativity into the mental health conversation seems like a really important part of what you're doing and what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. I just did a mental health conference. I put it on in June, the end of June, again, to bring more awareness about creativity and mental health, how you can turn mental illness into mental health by having a center. And this is something that I'm promoting still because it's a community initiative. And I'm hoping here in Victoria, British Columbia, where I live, there will be a center that is just that. It's an integrated center. It's for everybody, but it's for people where there is every creative means of expression available to people. So there will be painting, and there will be photography, and there will be healthy cooking classes, and there'll be an auditorium for the most inspiring talks and performances. There'll be, you name it. There'll be tai chi and a meditation room, and oh, it goes on and on. It's all on my website under mental health and ACHA, Academy for Creative and Healing Arts. So I see it as a template for cities everywhere, for places everywhere where we can. Now, I mean, I'm not so naive that you give a paintbrush to somebody who's really suffering and suddenly they're going to be, dancing around the room. No, but there are also mental health workers called friends that are there to help people, support them little by little, and meet us where we are. And I can see that those same people who come in tentative, terrified, whatever, who started off like you and me with ways in which we did have creativity. Nobody asks for certain things to happen to them in their lives. But as they start to find their way, they heal to the point that they're the ones that saying, hey, welcome, come on in, right? And they put their arms around these new people. And yeah, so
Oh, beautiful.
and the other thing with that, I was so excited about this, is the song "We Are the World, We Are the People" that was like years ago, when Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson and whatever, they put on this whole benefit for Africa, for Live Aid, and supported, and came with millions of dollars for aid in Africa at that time. And that was even before social media, really. I'm thinking about a song that's written by people with mental health challenges that's going to rock the world, where everybody's holding hands because, hey, don't we all have something? Hello. And that it's just going to go viral. And anyway, I just see the whole thing. I'm a visionary, and a lot of what I vision does come to pass. So putting it out to the universe right here with you, Devorah.
I love it. And I love it so much because we are modeling for all of the people watching to trust their visions, to put your visions forward. This is the whole point of Dare to Be Seen and Come Out of Hiding. And each of us has kind of our own unique way of doing that. So do you want to maybe share like maybe one little process to help people shift, or a little writing prompt or something like that? Because, a lot of times we sit in our resistance.
Oh, yes.
You know, about why, well, it's nice for her, she can do that because she's been doing da 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 da, and she can do that because she's, and you know, and so we sit in our little, you know, resistant voice there. So I was thinking maybe we could do like a little, you could lead us through a little something just
Sure,
for,
love to, love
okay.
to. I mean, I don't know, it's just off the cuff, so we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
no,
But
no, that's fine because I'm sure a
yeah,
lot of times the work we do is trusting that intuitive guidance.
oh, completely, completely. So I'll just see what comes through me.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So I would ask everyone who's watching this right now to close their eyes, and I'll do the same. And just begin to focus on your breath. Taking some deep breaths in from your belly, and then fully release, allowing every breath that you breathe to bring you into a state of tranquility and stillness, allowing you to come here into this moment, right here, right now. Whatever else is going on in your life, just let your thoughts come and go as clouds passing on a blue sky. Just let them drift, not attaching to any, just refocusing your attention on your breath. Deep, full breaths in and out. And I would like you now to imagine yourself as your greatest fullest potential, your highest self coming and visiting you right now, even entering into you right now, because we all have this place inside of us that no matter what else is going on, there's that still quiet voice that's a light, and that light resides in you and me and everyone. So let's let that light just come through and infuse your whole body and every cell of your body to start filling you up with possibilities and all of what is true for you. Anything that you know in your heart, even if you haven't expressed it yet, that there's a dream and dreams that keep coming back. Perhaps it's something that you've started but then let go. Or maybe you never did because you've just been too scared. But now we're summoning up that part of you that is absolutely, have all of the ability and verve and excitement and passion to bring it forward, because that place is real too. And whatever that is, just allow it. Just allow yourself to feel how it feels to whatever that creative expression is for you to come alive inside of you, even a little bit. Just feel that. Feel how that is. And you can ask yourself in this state of allowing, what steps do I need to take next? Or what step can I take next to move in the direction of my passion, my dharma? Just see what shows up. It could be words, an image, a symbol, and maybe nothing. And maybe it'll come later. Just be open to that. And then later, when this interview is through, perhaps you can open your journal and say, finish this sentence. What matters now with respect to coming out of hiding is, and just write from your heart. And breathe. And whenever you're ready, you can come back, open your eyes gently, soft focus, and come back.
Beautiful. And I love to do a little bit of this in the interview to encourage everybody who's watching to dive in and share something in the Facebook group with us as your start of coming out of hiding. So whatever came to you and whatever you want to write, if you would like to share some of it with us, then post it in the Facebook group and we will pop in to encourage you. And
totally, 100%.
Support you, because it's such a wonderful experience to get that inner, more expanded state. And I've been thinking about that lately, like going from that constricted state to more expanded state. So that kind of process you took us through allows you to then begin to allow something more expanded to flow out. And that was kind of feeling that more expanded state. I really like that.
Yeah, because that's really who we are. We are not this. We are so expansive, as you know. Yeah. As you know, you bring that to us with everything you do.
So it's just such an exciting time, the access we have to each other, the way we can support each other. It's amazing. So tell us, as we're coming to the end here, a little bit about your free gift and how people can kind of keep doing this cool work with you.
Okay, for sure. So my free gift to you, to everyone who's listening, watching, is the digital version of my book, Your Life Matters.
Oh, yay!
So,
how awesome!
Yeah.
Yay!
Yes.
Brand new book! Yay!
Yeah, exactly. And so everything in that book will help you to write your life stories, the stories that have made up the essence of who you are, the tapestry of your whole life, and the choices that you've made from all the myriad choices there are of, you went down this path as opposed to that one, and the people that have come into our lives. Anyway, it's a whole structure of the steps of how to do that. And you also have an opportunity to go as deep as you wish. There's a chapter that, I've forgotten exactly what it's called, but it's, how deep do you want to go? Part A. And some people only want to write about the celebratory stories of your life, the things like the times maybe your children were born or grandchildren, or you hitchhiked across Europe when you were, when you were a hippie, like I did, or awards or that you've won, or whatever, those things that are just fill you to the brim, right? And that's a wonderful motivation to write. Or if you want to go deeper, there's an opportunity and lessons and to way in which you can start to look at some of those things that may have held you back from expressing your full self, your highest potential. Those things are where we have the resistance because we still have the wounds that have not yet healed. So that process will help you to move through that, so that you can write a book if that's your choice, or even if you never want to publish it, just to write, to learn about yourself in a way you probably never have, because the writing will bring that to you. So that's what that is, as well as I'm offering a free coaching call or strategy session or whatever you want to talk about if you are having some difficulties, moving through either writing your book or not writing a book, but you're stuck. The beauty of what I love is that I've married the two careers of being a psychotherapist and a writing coach and book writing coach to meld those together, so whatever's coming up, I can help someone. So I want to, talk to you if you want, or just enjoy the book.
Beautiful. So go click the link, download the book, and reach out to Junie because it's very powerful. She's such a model and inspiration for coming out of hiding. It's really inspiring. So Junie, leave us with the last thought as we wrap up.
Last thought, follow your bliss. Oh my God, I think that's what Joseph Campbell said. Okay, it's not original, but you know what? Follow your bliss, follow your heart. Know that you matter, that whatever it is, take the risk and just be true to yourself.
Beautiful. I love that. And thank you so much, really, for sharing your heart, your wisdom, your soul with us. It's really an honor. And as I say in farewell, always remember, everybody, to go out in the world and share your story and live your purpose and be a blessing. So, bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.